Good evening everybody, welcome back to VP4 Online, and today we've got another triple header. We've already had the first match in that triple header, which was very one-sided. Skybitter against Ice Age. Skybitter ran out 14-1. We've got a second match in the trilogy today, and both players are in the lobby, or they've certainly arrived. Brainfillout has been in practicing, and Bankster has just arrived about a minute ago, and we have about a minute or so before the room goes up. It's another round 2 match, race to 14. It of course is 10 ball, and it's a non-slop game. All banks and combos need to be called. It's winner breaks, there's no jump queues, and well, Brainfillout, I think it's been a while since he's been in Virtual Pool 4. He hasn't really been about that much. As for the other chap, Bankster, I have never seen him play. I don't know what level he plays at, but Brainfillout's from England, and according to that, Bankster's got a Q8 flag, but you know, some people have different flags. That doesn't necessarily state that that's where they're from, but we have to assume he's from Kuwait. So as I said, this is the second match in the trilogy. We've got the big match coming up later on tonight. It's due to start in 3 hours time, and that's between Fantastic Mr. Fox and Bedhead. It's round 2, and we will have that match. So the room should be up. One player is in. I'm just going to join right now. Brainfillout is in, waiting to go. Good evening. Well, I always reserve my judgment until I've seen a rack or two to see what sort of level that these players will play at. Especially Bankster, whom, as I say, I've never seen. He's in the room. We are going to lag for the break. Again, not having a clue who's who. But we're all set. That's a pretty good lag to me, that one. That's got to win it. And Brainfillout has won the lag by a mile, and off he goes. And like many, it's a dry one. Good evening. I noticed Hazard is in the lobby. I noticed he arrived, so he must have got his password fixed. So the match we had earlier on, and this match is going to be the warm-up for what's to come later on. Well, Bankster called the 1 ball, and he's got it pretty safe. So what was the fix then? I got an interesting message on Facebook from Polament. And the interesting thing about the message was he said he's already sent an email to Steve Chaplin, and with the message that Polament sent, he had a picture of an email that was sent to him via Steve Chaplin's email. Steve's got lots of different email addresses, I hasten to add, and it was actually a link to Amazon. So something has been hacked. Well, at least Polament thinks, and the email is sent to Steve is to draw his attention to that fact. The only concern I would have on that is that hopefully nobody else has had a similar problem recently. Good evening. So Brain fell out, misses the kick. Ball in hand for Bankster. Well, let's see how good he is, whether he can move this cue ball. I'll have a quick drink. Oh, there's lots to hack. There's people's accounts, people's credit card details, passwords, all sorts. Whenever you're online in anything, there's depending on what information you give out, once it's online, it's there for somebody to hack. Well, Bankster's overcut the 5, so his chance is gone straight away. This is what I was talking about earlier about how the level of players can be. It can be judged fairly easily once you've watched them for a rack or two to see how they actually plan their way out, how the movement of the cue ball is, whether or not they lead you to believe that they've got it under control. Well, Bankster had a chance to prove it there, but maybe a wee bit nervy, and that's going to scratch. That's careless. Well, Bankster's been gifted another opportunity, so the test here is just getting out and onto the 8 ball. Oh, he's going to be okay. Now needs to leave the angle on that 9 to get across for the 10. Let's have a look at that. Well, that's okay, but he's going to play it lengthwise down into this top right hand corner pocket. Well, that's not where he wants to be. He wants to get closer than that, so it's a testy cut down the rail. Now a reminder as well, folks, to anybody who wasn't here earlier on, we had a look at the bracket in the earlier stream we did. That's a good cut, and Mr. Bill and Albinario are all set. What message is this from Stub? Yep, just a reminder, have a look up the bracket, because I think they're up at the top. Tomorrow night at 9 PM British Summer Time, that'll be 10 PM Albinario's time, and probably about 3 PM, something like that, Bill's time in the States. Bill and Albinario are going to go head to head, and we'll have that match for the live stream tomorrow night. And I think that is about it. There's another match in a couple of days time. Well, there's one that's been set, another one as well, Mooncake and Sergaresh, but there's also the Spectre Dawn Shaft Tracksman match in a couple of days. So but the main one to look forward to is tonight, as well as the one tomorrow night, and I'll have both of them. So if you don't get a chance to see them, remember, just go to my YouTube channel. And I said the other day on the stream, that was another thing I said Anybody who's thinking of subscribing, don't subscribe. I'm not bothered if you do it in Twitch. I'd prefer you subscribed on YouTube. Well, I went and checked my statistics and data from the stream I did on Saturday, and I had 2 new subscriptions in Twitch. So obviously nobody listens. And I had none in YouTube. And I'm trying to get the YouTube one to go up. Slowly but surely. So Bankster won the first rack. Good evening. Welcome aboard. Welcome everybody. And if you can, guys, well, this match is going to be, well, I'm assuming it's going to be well finished before the other one's due to start at 10 PM, so I'll be taking a break between the end of this and that other match starting, so I'll go and get a coffee and then I'll be back streaming live for that other match, the one between Mr. Fox and Bedhead. It should be a good match up. Although, having said that, after watching Mr. Fox's performance in the Snooker Masters, he's going to have to up his game, because he's going to be up against it against Bedhead, but he's got a fair chance because he can pot a ball. I got it off, I think it was CD Keys. That was the cheapest price I could get. I can double check. You know, I got it like 15 quid cheaper than what the, no, tell a lie, £20 cheaper than what the, because I got the deluxe, the, what do you call it, the premium deluxe version. That's the basic version, yeah. But you see, it's only a £5 cheaper, but it's still cheaper than, don't ever get a game, if you have Steam, don't ever get a game on Steam for the asking price on Steam. Sometimes it's worthwhile getting it on Steam, but only whenever the Steam sale is on, and you can't get it cheaper on any of the gaming sites. I can't remember the last time I bought a game on Steam where I bought it through Steam themselves. Well, Bankster's got the second rack in the board. 2-0. Good start. And a dry break again. But an open table for Brainfill out. Now it's his chance. It's going to be tough to get on the 2 though, because there is a path between the 6 and the 10. Well, he's played the draw and it needs to come out further if he's going to get on it, and that's well played. Always dodgy that he was going to be hooked behind the 5 or the 8, but he's done well to get that far. Now the other problem's getting back down for the 3. Well, you've got to pot the 2 first though, and these types of misses, they don't help your cause, and I think there's enough of that to be cut. Yep. Well, well, believe it or not, that 3 does go. I mean, it just goes, but you've got to get it right on the nail. But that's a poor safety, has to be said, and it's set up for a 3-10 combo. There's the worst possible outcome. That's how to get yourself really punished. Make a very poor safety shot and set up a 3-10 combo for your opponent. So Brainfill out, off the mark. 5 ball is going to go in. He's got a shot in the 1 and the 2 is there. So this is the test now as to whether Brainfill out is capable of running this table. Well, he's left himself again awkwardness too. So cue ball's running up and down the table here. That's going to, well, eventually just drop. Cheated that pocket a fair bit, but I think the pace was all that helped it into the pocket there. Now running into the 4, and of course eventually you're going to go out of shape. So now he has to try and find a safety, and as long as he doesn't scratch like that, he would have been okay. So we've seen poor judgment of safeties here. There's no combo on for the 10 ball, so the other problem is it's tight to get on that 8. Let's have a look at that 8 ball again. Yeah, well, the 8 will go as long as you get there or thereabouts. The question is, and the big question is, whether Bankster can get there. There's nothing difficult about what he's got here. It's all about just moving the cue ball. And the only other concern would be actually potting the 8 ball. It might be difficult to avoid chipping the 10, in which case then you don't know really where the cue ball's going. But what's going to help is what type of angle that Bankster gets. He certainly doesn't want to go really straight on this if he can help it. He's got an angle. Now he can draw back, try and avoid that 10. How good is he going to be in this 9? Well, he's killed it, and that's not bad. That will do. It worries me when he starts digging down. He just needs to roll it in. Yeah. As soon as you start digging down in shots, it's always a worry. But nevertheless, Bankster gets the job done. He's got the lead again by 2 racks. 9 balls going in. No, it's not. That 1 ball acting as a goalkeeper in the middle pocket. Pushes it onto the post. Now is Brainfill going to call the bank? He's calling the push onto the 9, so bank the 1 onto the 9. Or you'd have played the 4-10 combo. I think it was just as easy to get on that 8 ball. I mean, let's be honest, you probably wouldn't, because it was easy enough to run the table. Right, got you. Aye. Well, here's Bankster in with another chance. Table's a bit more awkward though. That 7 ball over the left rail. And of course the other problem is where the 6 ball is as well. It's not really got many adjacent pockets that it's going to go into, but it's going to be, let's just say it's not going into that corner either. That 8 ball's got it guarded fairly well, and you'd never really be guaranteed to get that good on it, so you need to find a way behind this 6 ball. Well, that's a sort of dead weight pace to get on the 6 into this bottom right hand corner, but once again the mistake is made in the pot but not in the position, and it's the unforced errors. Whoever can keep them down to a minimum, or at least less than their opponent, may well be the winner. Brainfill out taking the opportunity to draw into the 7, and he's going to have to call the combo again. needs to play this gently. He doesn't want that 6 ball to disappear anywhere, and that's quite good. I think he can still feather that in. Oh, I thought he was on the point there. Let's have a look. Oh, he's fine. Well, brain fell out. Getting back to within 1. How many racks is that? We're into rack number 6. Has there been a ball in the break? Did we lose it? I don't recall it. There's somebody straight away that needs to remap the replay button. I bet that's not the first time that happens. Nobody listens to me when I tell them remap it to your backspace button, the one above your enter key, because the likelihood of you accidentally hitting that button is fairly slim, considering most people their right hand is on their mouse and the left hand is at the WASD buttons. But the problem with the replay button as it's originally configured is it's 2 buttons away from your W button, and that's where people accidentally hit it. First thing I ever do when I reinstall VP4 for any reason, remap the replay, and then I don't have any issues of accidentally hitting it. That looks, well, it looks not a bad angle from here, from where I'm looking down in the table. Just a wee bit narrow. So Bankster has ball in hand, but this is a trickier table to get a run out. But let us see if other now what's the word I'm looking for? The word will come into my head in a minute, but obviously potting balls is part of the game, safety's part of the game, and it's whether or not the tactical side is going to come into it. Well, Bankster using a bit of common sense there, thinking, right, well, it's going to be difficult to run this table, so let's go for a second foul, considering the way these balls are lying. And if brain fell out doesn't get a hit this time, he's going to need lots of left hand side in this, and that's never going to be enough at that angle. And considering these balls are sat the way they are, I think that Bankster's well within his rights to go for the 3 fouls. I mean, there's no way he should be potting the 1 ball now and thinking he's going to do anything, because if anything, it's actually worse now than what it was previously. So just get the pace right, get that 1 ball hidden, and put Brainful out under pressure. And that will do, because he's going to have to go at least 2 rails to get to this one, and the angle is available on the right hand side. It's the only side he can get to, and I think he needs to go nearer that middle pocket. And I think he's thinking about that himself. He's just adjusted his angle. Well, he keeps readjusting it, but he's only ever going to get 1 hit at it. Oh yeah, so the 3 foul opportunity has now gone. and lo and behold, Brain Fell Out gets the kick safe, and Bankster is now in the corner, and Brain Fell Out. I mean, if this was me, having got out of that snooker and Bankster being in this snooker, I know exactly what I'd be doing if I end up with ball in hand. I'd be returning a compliment, so I would. I definitely would. Now, what's he looking at over here? So let's see what Brain Fell Out fancies doing. Again, you have to say the same thing. Is it worth your while trying to do anything here? Not really. But you've got to get your safeties a lot better than that. That's poor. Not quite as bad as what Popman was doing, but way short in weight. And when you have ball in hand, you've at least got to get the cover. That is, but that's also down to the fact that players don't get enough practice playing those little soft shots looking for snookers. If you don't get enough practice at it, then you don't have that touch. Now, unless Brain Fell Out can pot this one and somehow get onto that two, maybe with an angle into that middle pocket on the right hand side, with an angle to actually disturb something, again, it's not as worthwhile potting a ball. But again, his safety is so weak. Okay, I mean, it's the one ball's not on, but there's a 1-9 combo if he wants. And again, Bankster, it was that Bankster that did it the first time. I told you it wouldn't be the first time it would happen. It's going to annoy me to the point that I'll tell him to bloody remap his key. And again, maybe he doesn't even know how to do it. Maybe he's never even looked. Well, Brain Fell Out tried to disturb things a bit, and in actual fact, the way those balls are sitting, nothing needs to move for anything to pot. I mean, the 4 and the 6 are potable, and once they're away, the 8's in the clear. So there's actually no more work needing to be done to disturb anything. Well, the 4's not going to be potted there. Now, can he squirt past the 8 and lock onto that 6? Well, he wasn't able to, but he's got the cover one way or another. So, Bankster with a slender lead, 3 racks to 2, race to 14 for any latecomers. Again, another quick reminder, we've got another round 2 match, the last match of the night, to come up in 2.5 hours time, and that'll be between Fantastic Mr. Fox from England and Bedhead from Sweden. Well, obviously you should, because that way you've got a chance of potting a 4. and again he didn't call a pocket. See, this is the thing, players don't see shots. In a lot of game, in a lot of pool and billiards is the ability to see a shot or visualize a shot, and it is annoying. I get annoyed watching players where you think, well, I keep saying about players using their head, and there's lots of ways to use your head because there's lots of component parts that go into making up a half decent player, and one of them is thinking ahead and saying, right, well, that 4 ball's sitting there, I can kick it from either side of the table. What's my best option? Well, my best option is to kick it to the side of the table where the 4 ball has an open pocket and call that pocket. And again, it's frustrating when you think, well, how come that player does not see that shot? Time and time again I watch players, and they don't seem to compute shots. Well, it's all part of improving your game. Everybody can pot a ball in Virtual Pool 4, but you have to set goals for yourself to take yourself to the next level. I keep saying this as well. When I first started in Virtual Pool 3, I keep saying this is how I had a plan of how I was going to go about things. I got the game in November, I think it was November, now is it November 1990, and it wasn't until like March, or was it 91? I've totally forgotten when it came out now. Anyway, I got it before Christmas, and then I decided I was going to play about offline, and it was about 4 months before I went online, before I went into GameSpy. And then when I went in there and found out I was getting my arse swapped, I then decided to watch a lot of players and see what they were doing, because a lot of learning can be done from just watching what they're doing with the cue ball. Because even though you've played a game or games in real life, it's reading how the balls react in the game, and it takes a bit of time of getting used to. So all of that is down to just actual time. I actually played PGA golf on Cases Ladder. It was brilliant. I loved that game. It was a cracking golf game, that one. I was known as Young Tom Morris, that was my name. We used to have some great games on Cases Ladder. So the 210 combo's been called. Bankster gets it. So Bankster back in the lead, just a 1 rack in it. Again, obviously nothing done with the cue ball there other than dragging it into the corner pocket. And why it was hit as hard as that, I presume he was trying to disturb the 3 or something, but it was nowhere near that. It was just it was more like a billiard shot. That's going to be a missed call. Oh, aye, if you want to learn anything, there are hours and hours and hours of videos with guys online. There was one with snooker that I stumbled across one afternoon. A guy talking about various different things in snooker, and he was very good. He was more like a coach, and I sat and watched that for an hour and a half. I can't remember who it was. I don't know whether it was. I honestly cannot remember the chap's name. Can't remember. That's another missed call. Presume. Oh, did he call the 8? That's an excellent shot. I never noticed. I just looked at the HUD there and caught it. He called the kick in the 8 using the 3. Well, answer me this question, semi-pro. Why are you not good enough now? Why are you not still playing? Or basically, why are you in Virtual Pool 4? You should be out playing for your country. Club's closed. There, that answers that question. like many of them. Yeah. Well, it's a good chance now for Bankster to widen the gap. Now, he doesn't want to roll right onto the cushion here. He wants to really stun this 7 in. He wants to keep that cue ball away from the rail. Well, he's got a little angle there, so I think he's pretty straight though, but he can just go forward and around and out. He's fine. Doesn't need to do anything. Just forward and around and not too hard. Well, he's played the draw. 6.5 a dozen. Well, I'm afraid you'll have a long wait for that. So, Brainfellow has got work to do. So the first objective is to run a table if he gets a chance. It always lets your opponent know that you're capable of taking out a rack if you're given the chance. Still, with this rack it's not going to be easy because the 2 ball is awkward. Although, let me have a look. Yeah, well that's not going to be potted there. Not a bad safety. Well, there's a chance to try and tuck that 1 ball over towards the 2, and I think that's the 4 ball up there, and bring the cue ball down this end of the table. or take the cue ball in behind the 2 and the 4. That might be what he's trying. Oh, I've started yawning again. Oh dear. Well, Brainful Out has the problem. He's spotted a 1 with no shot in the 2. And I think he's right in the jaw. So he's going to have to go the long way around to get to this one. He's right on the point. Well, I know what I would do. I would just push that 6 ball down towards the 5 and just leave my opponent to it and see what he can do. See, the reason I say that is I always play with the background on. Yep. The reason I say that is you don't disturb the 2. I mean, let's be honest, it's so difficult to get to the 2. Why do anything that's going to bring it into play if you hit another ball onto it or something? So it'd have been far better just pushing this what the hell ball was it again? Pushing the 6 onto the 5. Yeah, I've always got the background on. The only time I never had the background on was in VP3 because the backgrounds were so shit. I never had the background on there, but I always played with a black background. But in this, from day one, I've always had the background on. Well, again, it's weighing up the percentages. Oh, that's a good call. Well, if you get your weight right, you can easily have pushed that 6 right down onto the 5 and had them pretty close to one another where neither of them would pot. Now, what happened here? I thought he called that 10 combo. Am I falling asleep here? What did I miss? What happened here? Somebody explain that to me. Oh, the white went in, it scratched. I was too busy reading the chat. So he got the combo, but the bloody cue ball went in. That's a disaster. I mean, that incident there with the trying to Brainful Out, trying to get to the 2 ball. When you're thinking in your feet during a game, and you're focused on what the lie of the table is, you've got to be. I keep talking about the little voice in your head. You have to question yourself. You have to say, well, you know, what is there on this table? Is this guy going to run this table if I can't get to the 2? Why should I try and get to the 2 when it's nigh on impossible? Let's just try and tie something up, give him ball in hand and let him prove me wrong. There's a lot of occasions where you do that, and that's a factor that there's a lot of players who play in this tournament won't even think anything like that. All they think is they're obliged to hit the ball that's on. You know, use every aspect of the game to your advantage, because you know that the higher rated players, the quality players in this game know exactly what they're doing. They'll use every factor in trying to win a rack, and you have to always review the situation and use up your shot clock, because that's another thing we never saw today. We saw one guy who every time he played a ball was calling a pocket. There was no thought involved whatsoever, other than he seemed to think he had to try and pot a ball every time he came to the table. Most of the time that's what he did, and of course all he did was just He wasn't good enough to do anything when he did have chances, and he was just picked off time after time. But this is an important visit for Brain Fell Out, because he's trailing by 2. Got to get himself within touching distance and not let it drift away. And this is the one that's going to be the decider, because this is awkward to judge. It's a chip in the 8. Got to get that cue ball out and up and far enough. It could have done with going another foot up the table. Well, that was the prime example of that, was that match the other night, wasn't it? And I've forgotten already who it was. Well, you see, there's a fatal miss there. Now, can Bankster take full advantage and punish Brain Fell Out? Because these are poor unforced errors that we're seeing here. This rack should have been done and dusted. I mean, in snooker, for example, there's, they always talk about the player thinking 2 and 3 shots ahead, and that's exactly what they are doing. I mean, that's how you make breaks, that's how you make runs in any type of game, is by thinking ahead. Where do I want to put this cue ball for this next shot, and what ball's going to follow? So you have to have that pattern going on in your head every time you're at the table. And well, Bankster's missed a 10 and he's gifted it, and that's what a lot of players fail at, because they're all one-dimensional. There's far too many one-dimensional players in lots of games. I mean, I play a lot of cowboy, and I keep saying to 2 or 3 guys, I can see a shot that's on, a possible shot, not to say that I'm going to get it all the time, but I can see a shot, and I'm wondering why, if I'm playing doubles, I'm wondering why my partner can't see it, a particular shot. There's a lot of guys who play cowboy who are reluctant to use the rails, and then you've got guys like Ali who think that you have to play every shot with power. He also thinks you have to play every shot with English, when the angle's already there off the rail. I mean, these are people who don't, first of all, they don't listen to what you're trying to tell them, and they keep doing the same damn thing time and time again. You try and help people and they just don't listen. That's the frustrating part. But there's guys who will see a shot and guys that won't. It's a sort of it's a type of blindness where they think they have to do this and they have to do that, and there's an easier way to do it, but they don't see it. No, I'm not grumpy. I'm just stating facts of my experience of watching players playing this game. That's exactly what it's like. It's like going to school, but you're in a mixed class with a lot of people who are top grade and a lot of people who are in first grade, and it's you like to see people who think. I like to see a player who's thinking about what they're doing, because then he's got half a chance, regardless of what their rating is. If I see that they're thinking about what they're doing and showing a bit of initiative, then it's a good sign. It's a good sign for their prospects. Okay, they might still be out their depth, but at least they're making a fist of it and trying to compete. I mean, there's a safety there by Bankster. It's got brain fell out in trouble again. I mean, you've got guys sitting apologising because they've put somebody in a snooker. You'll never get me apologising for anything in any billiard game. If you get a bit of luck and you snooker your opponent, well, so what? You can apologise all you want, you know you don't mean it. I'm not worried about whether my opponent's snookered or not. That's all part of the game. Well, that's also a very true statement. As I say, that I mean, what the problem with the problem with this being a virtual game and us not being able to see people is that we don't know what age group they are, and we're making assumptions. Every time I say something about a player, I'm making a big assumption. I don't know, you know, their physical condition, let alone mental condition, but I don't know whether you know, it's somebody who I mean, I know there are people play this game who have certain conditions that affect how their ability to actually play the game. I know that, but it boils down to whether you want to learn. And when I first started, I wanted to get better at the game. That was my main objective. I wanted to be at least good enough to be competitive, and bring what I'd learned in real life to the game. And that was it, and then just take it from there. But there are people who just come on here, you see them, we know them, who just like to bang at balls and don't even think about what they're doing. I mean, I can use Cowboy as a great example because that's the game I like playing, and I like playing it a lot when I get the chance. Usually in the mornings with the guys that play it regularly. And with Cowboy, it couldn't be any simpler because first of all you have is 4 balls on the table, and when you play Cowboy and you play it the way we play it in a 10-foot table, and you play it alternate where it's a pot and a carom in order, then all you have to do is when you pot that ball, you have to think first of all, where does this ball spot? Am I at the right end of the table? And secondly, my partner's going to be playing the next shot. Where can I put the cue ball that's going to make the next carom for him a lot easier? Now that's the main objectives of the game, and you've got guys who play it and don't think about what they're doing. None whatsoever. Ali's one of them half the time. And that's why I stopped playing with him as a partner, because I was getting palpitations playing with him. And I said, no, I cannot handle it because I'm shouting at the PC screen and using various 4-letter words, and my blood pressure was going up because I was just getting so bloody annoyed at the fact he doesn't think, and he can't. I mean, the other thing is he can't play a soft shot, so you try and help him with his mouse. Does he listen? No. Does he come back the next day and do exactly the same as he was doing before? Yes. So that's the frustration part. Oh God, that's why it's so annoying. But Ali enjoys his game, but he blames VP4 for all his problems. It's VP4 that's broken, not him. He keeps blaming Steve. But I'm using that as an example. But as I say, the average player doesn't think, and that's the biggest flaw in everyone. Not thinking about what you're doing. And if you do that, even if a player for once started thinking about what they're doing, they might start to wonder, I just potted 5 balls in a row there. I wonder what I did right. Well, they actually thought about what they were doing. That's what they did right. Meanwhile, that's the rant over. You got me started. We are back all square. We are back at 5 racks all. Brain Fill Out's dead straight in the 5, so there's not a lot he can do than try and probably draw past the 10 ball and maybe leave that 6 into the left middle, or maybe leave it long. That's probably his best plan, but I don't know what he sees here. I mean, what shot has he saw here? Because I don't see a shot here. He's looking for the safety. And he's tried to use the 8 ball, but he's hit it too hard. Well, when you're first of all, when you're 6-1 down, you've lost the game anyway in your head, right? There's not one time that you're 6-1 down and you think, well, I've got this one. You're 6-1 down and you're thinking, right, well, I'll take it as it comes, you know, because you've pretty much lost the match anyway. You know that your next mistake, you should lose it. So you've got no pressure on you whatsoever. All you do is just continue playing until the fat lady sings. Well, Brain Fill Out's finding weird ways to get himself in trouble. He's now having to call an 8-9 combo where the balls are 6 feet apart. This will be a good one. And of course the 8 ball's going to come off the rail and come across. Is he still going to be on it? Yes, he is. Well, he's done the first part of it, and now he's got all the room in the world to go side rail, and back across. He needs to get the power in it unless he's going to draw up the table and stun it up to the right. Well, that's not the way to do it, I'm afraid. You were under pressure, admit it. Now, need I remind you of your mid-match crisis that you had? Not in this tournament. I can remind you of your mid-match crisis. Right? You remember that one? Yes, you had a mid-match crisis, and started PMing me for some reason. And what did I tell you? I told you, go on with it. That's what I told you there. That's the coach in your corner speaking. Now, we're going to have a 5-10 combo here in a minute or two. The question is who's going to get there, because Brain Fill Out, I don't think it's got to be the cut, because he can't play the bank. The 6 is partially in the way. It's a bit tight to be trying to play a bank, so he's going to cut it. But is that the 3? It's the 3 ball. Now, can he get this cue ball out into the table? Yes, he certainly can. He has to judge the pace though, and that ain't going to do it. He had to put spin on that to try and avoid running into the 4. I don't think he did. And now he can't see to play the shot. He can only chip the 3 out into the table, but he can certainly get length on this. Now that might end up pretty good. That will do. I mean, it's not a snooker, but the job's partially done. Now it probably will be an 8-9 combo. Well, that's what you don't want. 3 ball pushed towards the corner and the 8 ball acting as a stopper. But the one thing about this match is that nobody so far is taking the initiative in trying to build up a lead, frustrating their opponent, doing something. So somebody's got to make a move at some point, or else we're going to go all the way. But Brainfellow has to get back on level terms first of all before he starts thinking about doing anything else. Now, can he squirt past that 10 ball? Yes, he can. So the 7 should be played into this opposite middle pocket, because that's the simplest shot. Or if you go a wee bit too far, you end up playing it long. But he's prime on that 7. But now he can go down off the end rail and back up the table for the 8. You've just got to be confident enough to play these shots. That's the shot you have to play. Make sure you get back up this left hand side, get the cue ball somewhere over by the 9 if anything, not quite on the 9, but that's the kind of direction it would head. You see, he's got there one way or another. Another little tester. He didn't want to get too much into this cue ball or he'll go straight into the middle pocket. He's fine, but he's not judged the cut, I'm afraid. So he's left the cut into the middle. So Bankster with a gilt edge opportunity here to open that gap. What was that, pub? Reds and yellows. I remember me and the guy I used to work with, we used to on a Friday we would head. This was long before I joined a snooker club up the stairs, but downstairs was an arcade. It was a gaming arcade. It had bandits in it as well as video games, and through the back there was a 3 snooker table. Well, there was a billiard lobby which had 3 snooker tables, and it also had sort of 1, 2, maybe about 5 pool tables, the bar pool tables. And I remember one Friday we were in there and we were in all afternoon, and that was back in the day when it was 2 10-pence pieces in the slot to get the balls out, 20 pence a game. And we played all afternoon. Guess what the final score was? I lost 41-40. We played 81 racks of reds and yellows. I don't know how many hours we were there. And that was even before I had my own cue for anything. And then I decided, right, that's it, I'm moving on to snooker. that's enough of this. And then I went and I said, right, well, if I'm going to get a cue, I'm going to get a half decent one. And I got my my Bill Werbeniuk snooker cue, and I mean, how long have I had that now? Definitely 30 years I've had it. And I think back then I must have paid about 30 odd quid for it. I mean, that's not expensive for a cue nowadays, but for me and the money I was earning at that time, it was expensive. Yep, Hendry is back in the tour. Well, he's got a tour card for 2 years. Whether he plays an awful lot, I'll hedge my bets on that. My cue is it's not an ash cue. The bottom half of it is a dark. It's like a dark redwood, and the top of it is probably, it's not ash. It's got no grain in it. It's not got any dark grain in it. I'm trying to remember what type of wood it would be. But then it's got Bill Werbeniuk's autograph on the butt end. Yeah, well, down the middle of the butt half. And for people who don't know, of which there will be a few, because they won't have probably followed snooker as long as I have, but Bill Werbeniuk was a rather portly Canadian gent who used to live off pints of lager, and there was him in the trio. There was Bill Werbeniuk, there was Cliff Thorburn, and there was Kirk Stevens at the time. So we're talking the early to mid 80s, and so that's how long I have had that snooker cue. It's sitting gathering dust now, of course, because my back could not stand playing snooker for any more than half an hour, plus the fact I can't see the end of the table. And Big Bill is no longer with us. He passed away. Well, Hendry's goal, I mean, he set a goal to qualify, but he's going to have an awful lot of problems doing that, because for where he'll be, he'll have to go through 4 qualifying matches to get to the Crucible. But as I said in the previous stream, from what I've seen of him in his semi-final, he was playing pretty damn good for somebody who hasn't played professionally in 8 years. And it wasn't the best of conditions at the Crucible for the seniors. There were big humidity changes and stuff like that, and one day the table was playing heavy, and then the next day the cushions were bouncing. So Bankster 7-6 in front, so still nobody taking charge of this match. It's just going to be tit for tat. And we've been playing for just short of an hour and 10, trying to send it over to the side rail. Now this time Brain Fill Out should be running down into this bottom left hand corner. There's a path there to do it. He's got plenty of room to do it, and he's bound to have cover if he gets the pace right. So that is a shot. He shouldn't be playing any other shot other than the safety and trying to hide this cue ball. He can try and hide it behind the 8, but he's narrowed down his margins doing that, so he's much better going down into this corner. And of course he's running into the 10, but he's got partial cover. It's an easy kick, but you don't want to really thump this because you don't want to disturb these down there. There we go again. I told you it would happen more than once, guys. And if you told Bankster to remap his backspace button, he probably still wouldn't do it. To remap his replay button to the backspace, I should say. Well, you'll be hard pushed to probably find that anywhere. But I have definitely got one. I mean, this cue has had emery cloth rubbed up and down it to smooth it out. It's had Johnson's baby powder rubbed up and down on it to when I was powdering my hands to get the sweat off them. It got well used, I can assure you. Goodness knows how many tips it's had on it. Elkmaster tips were the ones I used. This looks a good pace. That's nice. I mean, there are signs of wear and tear on it. The join between the two parts of the cue is it's a wee bit rough looking. But that's always a good sign. It's a good use. There's a wee chip at the butt end, a wee chip of wood on it gone. Yeah, I would say it's not 100%. It's not in pristine condition. Let's just say that. But that's for very good reasons, because it was getting used every day back in the day. Well, Bankster now has ball in hand with a 1-rack lead and a chance to get this gap open. When's it going to happen? It should be happening now if he can get well, it's not pretty. There is a possible bank, but he's going to be nowhere near the 5 ball. So once again, what's the value in taking the bank? He can push the 4. He can cut the 4 onto the rail, down past the 9, down towards the 7, and run up the table away from it. But now he's deciding to call a pocket. There's no way on earth I would be calling. Yeah, well, he's only doing that just for safety's sake. He's got the safety, and that is excellent. So for the second time, it's Bankster with ball in hand. Now has to leave the angle or set the angle up in this 4 so he can get down for the 5, so that's the first objective. And then he has to get behind that 6 ball. Well, that's not going to do any good. Had to go left or right and be certain about it. Now all he can do is again thin it and run for cover. Just thin it towards that middle diamond as thin as you can and try and get length and distance there. It's almost there, I think. I think he's okay. Well, Brainfill out trying to squeeze round the 6. Thing is, if he hits it in the right hand side, which is obviously all he can do, he's just going to bank it across to the opposite pocket. So he's called the cross bank, and probably worthwhile doing so, because if he gets it wrong, it'll bank off that side rail that he's on and then over the other side rail and go safe to the top rail. That's what should happen if it doesn't come off this shot. So it's well worth calling it. But he has to hit it hard enough so it'll do that. Well, he's actually, I think, got a double kiss there. Or it looked like it. But he's not left anything easy. But there is another safety shot on here. The safety shot is to push the 6. I'll get my line right, hang on a minute. Is to push the 5 there, thin it so that you're going there. You've just ruined my doodle here. And then come down here. So that 5 would go there and there. He's decided to go all out for the shot. He would have been on the 6, but that is throwing all your eggs into one basket, because all he's done now is given Brainfill out a free go, and he should be out. But the shot that's going to decide it is whether he can get off that 6 and get himself half decent on this 7, and that's not a guaranteed. Now if he doesn't take any risks, he's going to be playing this 7 long from the top right hand side of the table, and that's what he's going to end up doing. If he can hold, and he's gone too far. The only risk with the way the shot I described would probably have been the scratch in this bottom left hand corner, but the 5 ball would have been safe, and somewhere near that top rail. But this is what I'm saying about visualising a shot. It might not come to fruition, but that's the shot I would have had in mind when I played that shot. You either get the crossbank, and if you don't get it right, you go to that opposite, that right side rail, and then the object ball finishes near the top rail. You've not really done any damage other than risking scratching the cue ball, because you're bringing it down to this bottom left hand corner. But there is going to be a gap here, I think. I say I think because Bankster's the wrong side of the 9, but he's got all the room in the world to find somewhere on this 10 ball. But he's not prepared to move the cue ball. He's playing the percentage, leaving himself a shot on it. Now he has to read the cut though, and it just got there. But it is a lead, and it's a gap, and it's 8-6 to Bankster. And straight away he's scratching the break. Oh dear, I'm tired. I'm going to have to go after this to get a cup of coffee. We'll have a little interlude and we'll restart the stream for when the big match is due up at 10 PM. So we've got 100 minutes before that match is due to start. 10 PM British Summer Time. Well, me and Mal tried that once, but you end up talking over each other. It's on his YouTube channel if you want to watch it. I can't even remember who was playing at the time. I presume it was TeamSpeak we were on at the time. I think it was TeamSpeak. Well, that was ambitious. The 110 combo at distance. Well, there's a good safety shot on here. You send that cue ball down the table and you tuck the cue ball away in behind the 4, and if that's the 4 up there and the 6 ball, easy safety. You've just got to hope you don't pot the 2 ball, and in the end he's not really got there. Now the bank is going to be called. That was a poor one. The missing the 2, the missed call on the 5, and now Bankster, well, he's got a long straight 2 ball, but not easy to get anywhere on this 3 ball if he's dead straight. And look at where the cue ball is. Yeah, he's absolutely cast iron straight on this. So the bank called again. Oh, Super Admin has arrived. Well, he's arrived in the game. Well, that 6 and 4 ball, I mean, that's an open invitation to me. That I'd be tucking the cue ball in there all the time. But as it is, it's going to have to be a 4-6 combo if you can get that cue ball out into play, or do that. Well, it's a tight little squeeze, but it goes. And let's be honest, he should be out here, and it should be a 3-rack gap. And that angle on the 8 is fine. He's got to be careful he doesn't do any stunning across into this left hand corner though. He's fine. And now he's a bit straight, so anywhere down the table and over to this side. Well, he's decided just to draw back. He might have been a bit more ambitious than that, because he's left it tough. But this to give Bankster a 3-rack advantage, and that is a good shot in all the way. Excellent shot. Well, the ball has gone in, but there's going to be no shot in the 1. But well, he's calling the 10. I don't know why, but he should be again just tucking the cue ball away. Just push that 1. A light feather on it, and you don't disturb anything. Oh, that's a brilliant shot. He has picked that one out. I wouldn't have called that myself, but that is some shot. And what's more, it's now a 4-rack lead, and Bankster is stretching away, and now he's getting balls everywhere in the break. What went there? The 2, the 3, the 4 have gone. He might have a shot in the 1. I don't know whether he's trying to bend it round the 9 to make the cut. If he hits this too hard, it won't go. He has to let the spin take. And he almost got it. It was not easy. But it just seems like in the blink of an eye, we have a 4-rack lead for Bankster. And Brain Fell Out has got a lot more work to do. And it's going to have to start by getting good solid position here. Wrong side of the 5, but he can let that cue ball run. He has to use the angles. He needs to maybe get a wee bit of help and spin on it as well. Just a little helping left on it, but he's digging down. I don't know what shot he saw there, but that is not it. That is not it. I mean, every day of the week you've got to use the angle with a bit of spin, get yourself around. If you go over hit it and you go down there, you still get the 6 into the middle, but you have to play the shot. But the shot isn't from where he is now. He had no ambition in getting that cue ball to a half decent position to get a shot in this 6. Well, I think he's called the bank in the top left. It's all or nothing. And what's more, if he doesn't get this in the hole or get it safe, it could be another one away. Well, I don't think he had the angle, and he's almost got away with it. He's just clipped it too thin. Is it going to go safe? I don't think so. But it's another problem for Brain Fell Out. Dead straight in the 6. I mean, he can only come backwards. Well, he's tried to stun it, but he's had too much top on it that way. But the best he's going to get out of this is a combo. Well, he'll be happy with the end result. He's left it safe. Now, is it worth trying a billiard onto this 8? It looks pretty good to me. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, I'd be going for that every day of the week. Get that nice and thin. Well, Bankster didn't fancy it. I certainly would have. But is Brain Fell Out going to stay in this match? He can only do that by winning this rack. Cannot go 5 behind. And I think he's a bit straight on this 8 ball as well. So just a little stunny draw so he can roll the 9 into the right middle. You don't need to do anything elaborate. That needs to just stop. See, that's just going a wee bit too square. I don't know whether he can still just go through. I think he can. Just go through and off the rail. Well, he's trying to hold it. He's managed to do it. But the most important thing is he's managed to get one back. This is a desperate time. He still trails by 3. And can't get a ball in the break. And he's left a shot on. So Bankster pot the 1, drop down for the 2. The 3's in the left hand corner. And the 4 is open into the same pocket as the 2, because it certainly goes past the 7, but it's just a wee bit close to the 10. Yeah, well, he's actually snookered himself in the 2, and it's went in off the 7. That'll do it. And I can get to the 3. It's all about getting on this 4. Well, this would be a bit of a bonus for Bankster if he can take this out, having seen Brain Fell Out win the last rack. But there's no better way to respond than running out the next rack, just to keep that gap. So once again, anything but straight on this 6, and he's hung up the 5, and he's got the second prize. And this is a thing I mentioned in the Saturday, well, the Saturday stream that we did, the triple header, that nobody so far in this tournament has attempted a jump shot, even though jump cues, well, both balls were going off the table. Even though jump cues aren't allowed in the tournament, maybe people are interpreting it that you can't jump. Well, in actual fact you can, and nobody has been prepared to attempt a jump shot with their playing cue, which is perfectly allowable. And there we go again. For about the 5th time now we've had the replay button hitting an error. So this guy must have hands like shovels, or either that, he's got 5 fingers in his right hand and 8 fingers in his left. But it's ball in hand for Bankster, and he has to administer punishment. Oh, you certainly. I bet you there's somebody in the world who plays pool or some kind of billiard game where they've got like maybe 7 fingers in one hand. There's bound to be. I mean, there are weird people in the world, and I bet you there is. Probably get a hand with a built-in bridge. Well, Bankster should be back to 4 in front. Well, Benario's still there, he's woke up. You're back with us. But it's now 11-7 to Bankster. And a multitude of dry breaks we've had. And this is just another one to the count. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get a caffeine hit after this to get myself wakened up. Now that bank wasn't called, so that will be a missed call. So Bankster once again can play from where he is, or he can put his opponent back in, but it's probably well worth cutting this 3 into the middle, and should have some sort of shot in the 4, although the 5 ball is going to be the problem after it. Now this is where you then take your medicine. I think he's going to have to come back and play the bank on the 5 into the same pocket. I don't see any other option. Well, he's trying to get down to play some kind of cut on it, but he's overhit it. But he's still got the cross bank. That's worth a call. Into the left hand middle pocket as we look past that 10 ball, but no, he's not interested. How does that look? Well, the 5 will go. It's all about gentle pace past the 7 and not rolling through behind the 7, because he's playing for the 6 next, and he's hit it into it. So Bankster now with a great chance to stretch away even further. Oh dear, you've got to get those in. But now the pressure's on. Brain fell out, trailing before, free go to run the table, and he has to do it. And he's not going to be close on this 7 ball, and he's going to have to work the cue ball to get somewhere where he can get near that 8 ball. Well, he's done a bit better than I thought he could. And now he can get there. It's all about judging the pace. And that's the same as we've seen 100 times. That draw, digging down and pushing it to the jaws. They're going to rattle and hang. Still not guaranteed to get up for this 8 ball though, where that 7 is. Well, I think that's as best as he could do, but it's good enough. And just a gentle roll in will give him a shot in the 9. Oh well, would you believe it? He's hung the 8, and Brain fell out, breathes a sigh of relief, and this has got to be done. this time. Don't finish in the jaws. Well, forward and out, that's all you do. And don't scratch. Well, eventually, not convincingly it has to be said, but eventually Brain Fill Out has won the rack. And he's back to within 3. And a 3 ball all around the table, into the pocket, and a thin cut down the rail to start him off. Well, the ball that will give him most problems will be that 7 ball, but he's got to get from the 4 to the 5 first and then pot that 6. But the thing about the 6 ball is that, you know, if you got there in the 6 ball, you can certainly get in and move things. You wouldn't necessarily have to move things a lot, but it's whoever's going to get the chance to do it, because that 8 ball is in the way to prevent that 7, or to block that 7 at this end of the table. And Baxter's played a good one, and that adds to the pressure on Brain Fill Out. Is he going past the middle pocket? I don't think he'll hit it there, will he? No. As soon as I looked at that, I don't think that angle was wide enough, and he certainly didn't hit it. So another free go for Baxter to get started. Well, he's deciding he's going to try and hide the cue ball down in this bottom left hand corner. Well, he hasn't got the pace, or has he? Not quite. Well, Brain Fill Out can have a free go at this 4 ball and play a similar shot if he wants. Try and get that cue ball around those angles on the right hand side and back down here. But he looks as if he's calling a bank. Well, the bank's a good call if you can assure yourself and guarantee you're going to get in the 5. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's far better to try and cut the 4 and play the safety. And all he's done is a scratch. So absolutely no value in it whatsoever. And well, the proof was there for you to see. All he's done is given Baxter a free go again. And this time he can come out to the left. As long as he doesn't go too wide, he won't be interfered with that 9 ball. He'll be on the 5. It needs to slow down a bit. I think he's okay. That will do very nicely. That's perfect. Just and no more, I think. Is he? I say perfect. He's actually not perfect. I thought he was fine. Oh, and the double kiss has done him. Well, he was just an inch and a half too far. When you're sitting here looking at it from this end, it looked fine. Not until you get round behind it, you saw the problem. But getting back to this 8 ball situation, nothing's changed. That's still the emergency safety net for Brain Fill Out. But whether he gets there or Baxter gets there, somebody's going to have to deal with it. And Well, that's a missed call, and there's no shot for Brainfill out, although he can try and tuck behind the 8 ball. He could of course put Bankster back in, but he knows what Bankster would do. He would do exactly that. Brainfill out doesn't fancy it for some reason, but he thinks he can do better. Well, that'll do. I don't think it's there's not anything shown, but it's not a difficult hit, and I'd be calling the opposite pocket here just in case. And Bankster's got the right idea. And now the position that the 8 ball's in, it's got to be the combo. And quite simply, Brainfill out must do this. He's got to play it at such a weight that the 7 ball doesn't escape. Just got to get the roll on to get that 8 ball to the hole, and it's the cue ball that's escaped. He didn't get it right at all. He needed to play a little stunny draw there, not too much on it, but that was the only surefire way of keeping the 7 and 8 close, or with the 7 close enough that he could still make the pot. But he just played it plain ball and let the cue ball run, and his chance has gone for the time being. And if Bankster can get this 7, then he should be home and dry. Well, this is going to be the tester, a long straight 9. I don't think he can pinch enough angle to go forward, but he hasn't quite got into it enough, so he's left the little cut back. But this to give him the 4-rack lead again and take him to within 2 of round 3. And it goes, and it's looking good for Bankster, unless there's some sort of dramatic change. It just seems to be a matter of time. He has a comfortable 4-rack lead. He has the break, and at least 2 balls in the break. What went? We lost the 3 and the 5, and I think he's going to have to play the combo in the 1 and the 2 to get himself started. Let's have a look at this one. Well, that is certainly not a gimme. No, in fact I was too busy looking at that. I presume he'd called the 1 into that corner. I'm too busy looking at the 2. Thought he was going to play the 1 onto the 2, but well, it does mean that Brainfill out has a chance. How can he get himself around onto that 4 without running into the 7? Well, he's run into the 9 first of all, and it's all gone wrong. So he can't get the job done when he's getting these chances, Brainfill out. He's finding ways to get himself in trouble, and he's in more trouble here. Cue ball. Well, how many opportunities do you need? But you've got to do something that makes sure that you can get good on the 4. Well, he's not risking it. It's all out for the 4-10 combo. You've got to make 100% sure that you can get this. And he's nowhere near it. But the lifesaver is the fact that the 10's brushed the 6 ball onto the 7. And the 4 ball isn't on. And the cue ball scratched, so Baxter took no time to think about what he was doing there. I didn't see him call the 9 as a combo. If it did appear, I never saw it. I missed it. And well, Brain fell out. Looks as if he's lining up a possible 4-10 combo again. He hasn't called it. Well, he has now, or he's about to. And it's sort of desperate measures at the moment, and he hasn't got any of them, and lo and behold, he's left a possible 10 combo, a 4-10 combo. It's a thin cut. It's not easy this to judge. You just got to chip it right, or it'll go right into the knuckle and it'll hold there, and then it'll be a gift for Brain fell out. Well, Baxter made sure he hit it hard enough that he wasn't going to do that. Again, no value whatsoever in potting this 4 because he's got absolutely no shot in the 6, and it might be difficult to get a safety from where he is. Well, that was, I mean, look at what's happened. If ever you want an example of what not to do, can he get to this 6 between the 10 and the rail? I think he can. But as I said, absolutely no value. And all he's done is brought the 6 into play for his opponent. And that's 7. Not a problem getting it past the 10. But it's going to be the big draw. It will still be a good shot to have any shot in this 8 ball at that distance. Well, that's brought everything clearly into play now, and I think he's almost got away with it. It's a very thin cut in this 7. It could be a possible bank. That's what he's going to call. Has to go, and in it goes, and he has to get out. There's no half measures here, it has to be done. Well, he's slightly inside the 9, and he's held it, but this is another little tester just offline. That's another one back. The gap is 3, and Brain fell out. Has potted the 5 in the break. He's not sitting anywhere near good on this 1 ball. But he's done the right thing. Got cover, got it safe. And once again, Baxter's played a kick and not called a pocket. I think that's pretty good as well. I think Brainflout's got him. Yep, full ball snooker. Needs to probably spin into this to get the kick off the rail. Oops. I don't know what button combination I hit there, but I brought up a Windows menu there. I think I don't know what, maybe it was a Windows button I hit. Well, there is a cut in the one. It's by no means easy. Well, that 3 ball goes past the 6 for a 3-4 combo down the rail. I think he's just landed on it and no more on this 2 ball. Oh, I think my mouse is going full speed now as well. Well, content to play the safety, but it's all very well playing safeties, but when you get that chance and you're trailing by 3, you're at the no miss point. You've got to get it done. Now, is Brainflout going to get a chance here? Now, the hit was good. Well, the 6 ball's been nudged out the way. An awkward cut, but it is a starter, but not interested. But you've got to get that cue ball tucked into the corner. That was not difficult to do. And he may well find himself in deep trouble here, because that's a very good safety from Baxter. And Brainflout isn't getting to this 2 ball. Now the thing is, if he gets nowhere near it, then there's a possible, it's not going to be easy because it's nowhere near set, but there's a possible 2-10 combo on, if Baxter wants to have a look at it. It's not a very pretty picture when you look at it from here, but if you can pick that cutting point, it's well worth having a go. You just need to make sure he doesn't hamper himself with the cushion when he's playing this. Yep, that's why he's actually got it wrong. He actually hit it into the jaw. He wasn't looking at where the cue ball was sitting. And in the end, that's what he ended up doing. He ended up pushing it into the cushion first, in the corner of the pocket, before he hit the first ball, and that's why it went soft. Well, we are just an hour away. This match has now been on for just about a minute short of 2 hours. We started at 7 PM and it's now just knocking on the door of 9 PM, and in an hour's time we have tonight's final match in our second set of trilogy games. We had a trilogy of matches on Saturday and we've had 2 out of 3 so far today, but the big one will be between Fantastic Mr. Fox and I think he did an attempt at the 10 ball there. My brain's gone, I've totally forgotten who's playing. Bedhead, that's the name. I've got to go get this coffee. Yep, my body's in shutdown mode again. Well, he's called the 10, drawn onto it, in it goes. And more important now, it's Bankster on the hill, leading by 4, leading by 13 racks to 9, and Brain Fill Out is in the last chance saloon here, folks. The fat lady is singing because he's got a mountain to climb. Well, what's more, his safety hasn't got there and he's left an easy starter for Bankster. Now just a plain ball roll in the 4 and he's going to go up the table for the 3 back down into this bottom left hand corner. That's without trying to do anything with the cue ball. But now he's going to have to do something. He's going to have to go through with a lot of top or a lot of draw backwards, and that will do if it bounces. But now this is the one where you have to play the positional shot, because he's got the potting angle and the angle to get there, and it's all gone wrong. I'm sure he didn't want to run into the 5 and 6. Well, it's going to end up being a lifeline for Brain Fill Out because Bankster can't get there, and he has to move this 5 whatever he does, because he doesn't want to leave the 5-10 combo. Well, at least he's done that, or has he? I think he's okay, but it is a ball in hand opportunity for Brain Fill Out, and really it is something he has to take out. But it's going to be a 6-10 combo, so roll the 5 in and get yourself right behind that 6 ball to get this rack done. And take your time and get it set right. Well, it's 1 back, but it's a long way back. But he's got a ball in the break. What went in? The 9? I think the 9's gone in. And a shot on the 1 and just drop through for the 2. Four ball will be the immediate problem after getting this 2. Well, I don't think there's much more to see in this match, to be honest with you, but As I mentioned just before you arrived, in about 55 minutes time we will have the fantastic Mr. Fox against Bedhead match. It's another second round match. I'll be taking a break. Once this match is over, the stream will end, and then I'll restart it just prior to the final match of the night and the final match of the day's triple header. And I hope you can join us to watch that. If you can't, if like me you're ready to go to your bed and you're half asleep, then you can watch it tomorrow when you get home and watch it on YouTube. Well, this is a little testy cut for Brain Fill Out, but he's got to get it, because you would feel that Bankster is going to take the opportunity whenever it comes to put this match to bed, and that's adding to the pressure for Brain Fill Out, because he just cannot afford an error, and the error has been made. Like, here's an opportunity here to try a jump shot, and nobody, as I say, has ever even tried it. So this shit, I've done it again. I've hit the bloody wrong button again. I'm semi-conscious here. Yeah, I think I saw it in the bracket. Again, another accidental hit there. I mean, that's about 6 times he's done it. That is really annoying. But that is probably Brain Fill Out's last shot of the match. This match is over. As long as Bankster can get out and across into the table somewhere, he should be on the 8. It's got to bounce. Now, this is tricky. Well, that's why he's deciding to play. Well, he's now playing the cut again. He was calling the bank. Is he calling it up and down? Is he changing his mind? Yes, he is. He's calling the bank again. But he's doing that to try and hold for the 10. But he's going to stun across to the right hand side. Well, he's stunned into the 10. He's got the 8, but he's got himself too close to the 10. And all he can do is play the thin safety, really thin. Barely graze that 10 ball. He doesn't want to disturb it too much, but he does want to leave Brain Fill Out at distance if he can. But if he nudges this thick, it's going to bounce out into play, and it will leave a pot. Well, he's calling the pocket, but he's trying a far out cut. It's going to scratch, and so Brain Fill Out has had his prayers answered. He's got ball in hand just to roll this 10 in and get it back to within 2. Oh dear, really hit the sleep wall. I know that I'll recover. Did he? I never noticed. I know I'm going to recover. I'll recover more once I get this coffee, but right now I'm really sluggish, wanting to fall asleep. But I should be up and ready for the match at 10 o'clock. Now, how long is Brain Fillout going to survive in this match? Is he going to take it all the way? Is Bankster going to have the nerve to put this match to bed? Am I going to stay awake to see the end of the match? That's all. These questions will be answered in the next 5-10 minutes. No, if I have a power nap, I won't be here to see the start of the match. I'll be out like light for the rest of the night. That'll be it. Forget it. I won't be, I'll be gone. I can have a power nap in the afternoon because that's exactly what my body needs. It's usually half an hour or so, and then I wake up and I'm fine. But I never had that this afternoon again. I came home, had something to eat, and then I had to get ready for the stream. And I'm now at the time of night where my body wants to go to sleep. I was in bed last night at 9:15, and it's just nudging on, you know, almost 9:15. And that's what I've been doing the last couple of nights. And right now my brain is telling me, what are you doing up? You should be in bed for work tomorrow morning. No, it's blowing a gale up here. I'm not. It's probably pissing the rain as well. I haven't even looked out the window, but I certainly ain't going out any door. No, I'll get a caffeine injection in the next 10 minutes. Now, is Bankster going to finish this? Well, not from there he won't, but he could and he should be calling the bank because he's got the gap. It has to be made. It's not set, but it's well worth a shout. Or is he going to play this long? What's he looking at? And that's what prowlers probably do when they're out and about at night and somebody asks them what they're doing. They say they're looking for the dog. No, I don't want to get arrested either. Well, Bankster's got it safe. Brain Fillout's kick. How's his safety? Well, I think he will actually take that. There is a cut on. It's by no means anything easy, but it's still another chance for Bankster to finish the match. Overcuts it. Is that 9 or whatever it is? Is that the 10? Yes, it is. It's come to the rescue. Well, I think he's trying to bend this and make the angle around the 10. He's just trying to squeeze it around. Well, now he's trying to make the angle to make a bank. Yeah, tall order that one. Well, it's gone reasonable. There's the reverse bank on, but there's a danger of the scratch on that. The bank into the top right hand corner pocket. Cue ball going into the bottom left hand corner pocket. Well, he's now making the decision. Well, he's called the cut. Good luck with this one. It is not easy. He's played it well though. How's his luck here? Where's the cue ball finishing up? Well, it's a big tough shot this, to pot the 8 and get anywhere onto this 9. A narrow angle into that middle pocket. went for it into the corner, tried his best to get on the 9 and pretty much got there. It would have been a thin cut, but he had a shot. So Brain Fill Out is hanging on by 2 fingers and no more, and he needs to get the pace in it, and it's not going to get there. Now what does he do? He's going all out for the cut. He gets it. What with the cue ball? It's going to have to be another long 10 or a cut into the middle. He's now making his choice. It's the thin cut. Now you just have to get the cut and not a lot of pace, and in it goes, and he's back to within 1. So he's breathing right down Bankster's neck. The break this time is dry and no real shot for Bankster, but he's played an awful safety. Should never have been pushing that one anywhere into the 9 or the 7, and he's just opened it up, and it's a free go. And a nudge on that 4 will do nicely, although he's pushed it onto the bottom rail. Now has to find a path onto the 3, avoid the blocking traffic, and I think he's not gone anywhere far enough there. Needs to be aware of the double kiss as well with this shot. He's going to have to check this to hold on. Has the shot in the 4 and plenty of room. Big gap between the 6 and the 9. Needs to get off the rail though. But it is a great opportunity now for Bankster to take this out. And he's overhit it. So he's got a similar decision. Does he take it long or does he cut it? So just 4 more balls to go to take him through to round 3. We surely can't go wrong here. Well, he can't. He's got far too much into that and should never have been anywhere near there to play this 9 ball. But it still goes. But I think he's going to have to get a bit lucky to finish nice on the 10. Is he banking the 9? Yes, he is. Well, it did everything but go in. And Brain Fill Out can square the match and take us all the way. But that 9 is deep in the pocket. This cue ball could end up anywhere here. Again, the cue ball's just escaped a wee bit. Well, he's not taking it into the middle, I can tell you that. So this to take us all the way in a match that's now been on for an hour and 13 minutes. Sorry, 2 hours and 13 minutes. That's not going to go in, and that is it all over, folks. And so the miss on that 10 ball is going to give Bankster the win by 14 racks to 12, and he marches through to round 3. And so that ends our second match in today's trilogy. We'll have a look at the bracket, and where the hell is it? So it must be up the top. Where's that match went to? I've missed it. I'm so tired I can't see the match in the bracket. That's unbelievable. Why can't I see it? I went past it about 3 times. There it is. So Bankster is now through, and he waits the winner of the match between Spectre Dawn and Shaft Tracks. Well, this one up here, guys, is the one I'll be back for. We've got about 40 minutes before the match is due to start, and that's going to be the round 2 match between Fantastic Mr. Fox and Bedhead. It starts at 10 PM British Summer Time, 40 minutes time, and between now and then, thank you for your company, guys. If you can stay with us, I'll be back here just before that match is due to start. And if you can't, remember, it'll be on YouTube tomorrow. But until a wee bit later, I will say goodbye just now, and I'll be back for the live stream in about 40 minutes time or so, or just before that. Till then, I'll see you later.